You analyze why you felt happy. You dissect the compliment someone gave you, looking for the hidden meaning. You watch yourself having fun and wonder if you're having enough fun, if you're doing it right, if this moment means what you think it means. And now the fun is gone. You can't watch a movie without noticing yourself watching it. Can't laugh without hearing how your laugh sounds. Can't relax because you're too busy monitoring whether you're relaxed yet. You've become the scientist and the experiment at the same time, and now nothing feels spontaneous anymore. If awareness is supposed to make life richer, why does it feel like you're watching through glass? If understanding yourself is the goal, why does it feel like you've lost the ability to just be? You think you're becoming more conscious. You think you're seeing things clearly for the first time, understanding the patterns, catching yourself before you make the same mistakes. But what if self-awareness isn't making you free? What if it's building a cage you can't see? And what if, right now, the very act of watching yourself is creating distance from the life you're trying to live? If you could see what happens in your brain when you turn the spotlight inward, would you still call it growth? The truth is, there's a threshold, a point where self-awareness stops serving you and starts consuming you, where the observer becomes so loud that the experiencer disappears entirely. And most people who cross that line never realize they have, because they're too busy analyzing why they feel so disconnected. But here's what you need to know, and what changes once you understand it. Your brain has this system that watches you, analyzes you, narrates your life, and it does exactly what it's designed to do. But it can also trap you in a loop where you're living one step removed from every experience you have. And today, that's exactly what we're going to fix. So here's how we'll do it, step by step, starting with just one awareness shift. We'll expose the 5 hidden ways over-awareness kills spontaneity. We'll dig into the brain science behind why your mind built this trap in the first place, using research from scientists who've studied the exact mechanisms. And then we'll walk through 7 specific practices backed by psychology that let you be aware without being imprisoned by it. This isn't about becoming less conscious. It's about learning when to turn the searchlight off. By the end, you'll know how to notice without narrating, how to be present without performing, and how to live your life instead of just documenting it. Think of consciousness like a camera with an automatic flash. Sometimes the flash helps you see, but sometimes it's so bright it blinds you to what's actually in front of you, leaving you with nothing but the afterimage burned into your retina. But how do we know this isn't just philosophy? How do we know this is actually what's happening in people's brains? In the early 2000s, researchers started making discoveries that changed everything. Psychologist Iris Mauss at UC Berkeley spent years tracking what happens when people value happiness highly. She discovered something unexpected. The more people tried to feel happy, the less happy they actually became. When participants in her studies were asked to watch happy films while focusing on whether they felt happy enough, they ended up feeling disappointed and reported lower well-being. Then Timothy Wilson at the University of Virginia conducted a series of studies that revealed how uncomfortable people are with their own thoughts. He put participants in a room with nothing to do but think for 6 to 15 minutes. The result? Most people found it so aversive that 67% of men and 25% of women chose to give themselves electric shocks rather than sit alone with their minds. By the late 1990s, researchers Paul Trapnell and Jennifer Campbell identified what they called the self-absorption paradox, where higher self-awareness simultaneously correlates with both psychological distress and well-being, depending on the type of self-focus. This is what you've been experiencing, your brain trying to optimize an experience by analyzing it in real time, and in the process, destroying the experience itself. The moment you check in, how happy am I now? You feel happiness less. This is what's been happening in your life. You can see this pattern playing out in every moment you've tried to capture, instead of just living. The 5 ways it shows up in your life. 1. The narrator won't shut up. This is your mind watching your mind, and it's running wild. You've felt this when you're at a party, having what should be a good time, but there's a part of your brain narrating the whole thing. Am I talking too much? Was that joke funny? Do I look awkward standing here? You're experiencing the moment and evaluating your experience of the moment simultaneously, and suddenly you're not at the party anymore. You're watching yourself be at the party. 2. Analysis paralysis. Then there's the analysis paralysis. Every decision becomes a reflection of your identity. Every choice a statement about who you are. You can't just order food, you have to consider what your order says about you. You can't just enjoy a song. You have to figure out why you like it, what it means that you like it, whether liking it is consistent with your self-concept. The simple becomes complex. The automatic becomes manual. Living becomes performing. 3. The death of flow. But this pattern feeds into something even more subtle, the death of flow. Psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi spent decades studying what he called flow. Those moments when you're so absorbed in something that self-consciousness disappears entirely. The ego falls away. Time distorts. You and the activity become one. You used to have these moments. Now? You're too aware to lose yourself. You're playing guitar but watching yourself play guitar. Writing but critiquing as you write. Talking but monitoring how you're coming across. The observer never sleeps, so flow never comes. 4. Distance as safety. And here's the pattern most people never notice. Awareness creates distance, and distance feels like safety. When you're analysing your emotions, you're not drowning in them. When you're narrating your experience, you're not at the mercy of it. Your brain learned that staying one step removed means staying one step ahead. So you built a watchtower and never came down. And now you're so far from your own life that you can barely feel it anymore. You're living through a lens, and the lens is getting thicker. This isn't your fault. Your brain isn't broken. But why does this work this way? Why did awareness, something that should help, become something that hurts? Because your brain is solving a problem you don't have anymore, using tools designed for a threat that no longer exists. Why your brain built this trap? The system that never stops. There's a network in your brain that lights up when you're not focused on the external world, when you're daydreaming, remembering, imagining the future, thinking about yourself. Scientists call it the brain's default network because it's what your mind does when it's not doing anything else. This system is responsible for the voice in your head that asks, "What does this mean about me?" and "How should I feel about this?" It's your brain's autobiographer, constantly writing your story. This system evolved for a reason. In a social species, understanding yourself and others meant survival, predicting how others would respond, learning from past mistakes, planning for future scenarios. These weren't luxuries, they were life or death. So your brain built an entire network dedicated to self-reflection. And for most of human history, this system activated intermittently. When you had downtime, when you were safe, when you needed to process what happened or plan what's next. But here's what changed. Modern life never stops demanding self-awareness. Every interaction leaves a digital trace you can review endlessly. Every decision is documented. Every moment is measured against everyone else's highlight reel. This self-watching system, designed to activate occasionally, is now running constantly. It's like leaving your car engine on 24/7. It wasn't built for that. Neither was your brain. And there's a deeper mechanism at play. Research on thinking about thinking shows that monitoring yourself too closely can actually interfere with performance. When you watch yourself too carefully, you disrupt the automatic processes that let you do things well. It's why athletes choke under pressure when they start thinking about their technique. why musicians mess up when they become aware of their fingers, why you stumble over words when you suddenly notice yourself speaking. Then culture amplified the biology. You were taught that self-awareness is always good, that the unexamined life isn't worth living, that consciousness equals evolution, so you turned up the volume on your inner observer and mistook constant self-monitoring for wisdom. You confused narration with understanding, and now this self-watching system is stuck in overdrive, burning fuel it was never meant to burn, creating distance it was never meant to create. The tragedy is this: the system designed to help you understand yourself has become the barrier to experiencing yourself. The narrator has become so loud you can't hear the music anymore. This is what you've been up against. A brain system doing exactly what it evolved to do, but in circumstances it was never designed for. But the moment you realize this, something shifts. The awareness that's been trapping you can also set you free. Freedom begins when you realize you're not your thoughts about your thoughts. You're not the narrator. You're what the narrator is watching. The 7 practices that set you free. Practice 1. Single point attention. Start with the simplest practice, single point attention. When you're doing something, commit fully to just that one thing for just 60 seconds. Not doing it and watching yourself do it. Not doing it and evaluating whether you're doing it right. Just doing it. Your brain is recognizing that you're writing, or tasting coffee, or feeling warm water. Not, I am someone who is writing, tasting, feeling. This distinction changes everything. Research shows that focused attention literally quiets the self-watching network in your brain, giving the observer a rest. The quotable truth: you're not performing your life for an invisible audience. You're living it for the first time, right now. Try this right now. Notice 3 sounds around you. Don't name them, categorize them, or judge them. Just hear them. You just practiced being aware without being self-aware. That's the skill you're building. Practice 2. Catch the narrator. Once you've tried that, here's what to add. Practice catching the narrator mid-sentence. Notice when your brain says, I am anxious, and reframe it to, anxiety is present. Notice when it says, I'm terrible at this, and shift to, the thought, I'm terrible at this, appeared. This isn't semantic games. Research on our beliefs about our own thinking shows that creating distance from your thoughts, without getting lost in analysing them, reduces their impact on your well-being. You're not your commentary on your experience. You're the space in which both experience and commentary arise. The reframe: instead of I'm overthinking this, try overthinking is happening. See how that changes the weight of it? You're not the problem. A pattern is running, and patterns can be interrupted. Practice 3. Scheduled self-reflection. Here's a technique that works even in the hardest moments. Scheduled self-reflection. Give your narrator a designated time slot, maybe 10 minutes each evening. Outside that window, when the narrator starts up, you can tell it, not now, we have time for this later. Your brain learns that self-reflection has boundaries, that awareness doesn't need to be constant to be valuable. Practice 4. Embrace deliberate awkwardness. Another powerful practice. Embrace deliberate awkwardness. Do something slightly outside your comfort zone where self-consciousness will definitely show up. Sing in your car with the windows down, dance badly on purpose, order something you can't pronounce. Then notice. The self-consciousness spikes, and then it fades. Every time you do this, you teach your brain that self-awareness isn't dangerous, that you can survive feeling foolish, that the narrator's warnings aren't gospel. The insight: self-consciousness is just weather passing through. It gets loud, then it moves on. You don't have to evacuate every time clouds appear. Practice 5. Recognize and protect flow. Here's what transforms the practice. Learn to recognize flow and protect it fiercely. When you find yourself absorbed in something, completely present, time disappearing, self-consciousness gone, That's flow. That's your brain doing what it does best when the narrator finally shuts up. The work isn't forcing flow. The work is noticing what blocks it and removing those blocks. Usually it's the narrator. Usually it's you checking whether you're flowing yet. Practice 6. Use external anchors. Once you start recognizing these patterns, add this strategy: external anchors. When you notice yourself spiraling into self-analysis, bring your attention to something physical: the texture of fabric, the temperature of air, the weight of your body. Your senses only report what's happening now. They don't analyze, judge, or narrate. They're the off switch for the self-watching system. The anchor back to immediate experience. Practice 7. Self-compassion without self-analysis. Here's the final piece. Practice self-compassion without self-analysis. There's a difference between "I'm being hard on myself, I should be kinder," which is just more self-focused thinking, and feeling kindness toward yourself the way you'd feel warmth from sunlight. Research distinguishes between the type of self-focus that spirals into distress and the type that supports well-being. One is the narrator criticizing the narrator. The other is dropping beneath the narrative entirely. The simple version. When you notice self-judgment arising, don't judge the judgment. Just place one hand on your heart and take one breath. That's not analysis. That's kindness. The goal isn't to never think about yourself. The goal is to know when you're thinking about yourself, and to have the capacity to stop when that recursion isn't serving you. Self-awareness becomes freedom when you're also aware of being aware and can choose where to point the flashlight. The path forward. Look, this is hard. We're asking you to notice a pattern that's running while the pattern is running. To be aware of awareness itself. Some days you'll catch it, some days you won't. The narrator will convince you it's helping when it's actually drowning out the signal with noise. But every time you notice, you're building the skill. Every time you choose presence over performance, you're rewiring the habit. We're not trying to kill the observer. We're trying to teach it when to rest. Here's what I'm curious about. Which of these patterns shows up most for you? The analysis paralysis? The death of flow? The constant narration? Drop a comment. I read them all, and your answer might be exactly what someone else needs to hear to feel less alone in this. And if this helped you see something you've been living but couldn't name, share it. Not because I need the views, but because someone in your life is trapped in the watchtower right now, thinking they're supposed to be there, thinking constant self-monitoring equals growth. They need this. If you want more of this, the research-backed stuff that actually helps, subscribe. I'm here every week translating the science into something you can use. This week, try one thing. Catch yourself narrating. Notice when you're not living the moment, but commentating on it. And when you catch it, don't analyze why you're doing it. Just drop back into direct experience for 5 seconds. 5 seconds of life without the lens. What changes when you're not performing for yourself anymore? What becomes possible when the only witness you need is the one who's actually living it? The life you're looking for isn't one more layer of awareness away. It's what happens when you finally stop looking.